That was very clever. If it sounds good like this, then it also sounds good like that, right? So then we put passing tones in here. S, R. All right. Disanga. Let's add some chords. Right? And there's a lot of different ways to add chords. Maybe this time I'll keep it simple. Maybe here I'll do a C minor. Then here, maybe I'll do an F minor. Then here, maybe I'll do an A flat, major 7. Then here, maybe I'll do a G7 with a flat 9. Right? And then here, maybe I'll do a C11 to a C to a C major, right? So here, this is woo, jiga E, jiga woo, jiga woo. I did parallel fifths. All right, that's cool. And jiga E, woo E, woo woo E. It's gonna sound like a pop tune, right? E ba. Woo, san, lil, flat san, flat lil. Sound like pop. Alright? Flat 7, major 7, chill, shi, san. Flat 5, sharp 11, shema, shema, shema. Jigasha, sound more like jazz. So you can control the style that you want by controlling those intervals, right?
What does 1-8-1853-6B3 be about? What is it?
Those are the intervals. That's the counterpoint.
Uh-huh.
That's the counterpoint.
Uh-huh.
So this is going to sound more like a pop tune. Why? Because I used woo and E a lot, right? So here's my triad. Here's my passing tones. Henshan. Say that thing. So now it sounds like a pop tune. Why? Because I use E, woo, you know, I use some pretty stable intervals over the top of it.
Question. So your left hand is also the same chord, just arpeggio like that, or when you play?
When I'm playing, what's going to happen is I'm going to do this. I'm not a piano player. I'm a guitar player. Yeah, so my piano playing is like, I can't really play piano. Yeah, I can just play chords. That's how I play bass line. I'm not a piano player. But when I voice the chords, I'm going to do this. I know that that's the theme. So I'm going to keep it in the top of the chord. So this C minor, I'm going to voice it like this. The F minor, I'm going to voice it like that. The A flat, I'll voice it like that. The G, probably voice it like that. And then the C major, I'll probably voice it like that. What happens is that theme, at all times, I keep it in the top of the chord. I keep that theme in the top of the chord. Then you can start to hear the melody, right? Now, when you actually create the melody is in between here. The melody is between the points. From that point to that point, that's where the melody is. The melody is between those 2 points. Then the melody is between those 2 points. Or the improvisation is between the 2 points. So a lot of jazz musicians, before they play a solo, they know that line. Before they play the solo, they know that line. And their improvisation is how you get from one point to the next point, right? So I know that I have to go from here, right? So I could go. Look, I'm just figuring out a way to connect that. I could go, right? Right? So what's happening is between those 2 points, I dance around. That's all I'm doing. And that becomes the melody. You got it? I'm just dancing between those 2 points. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that dance between those 2 points. Right? You can play arpeggios, you can play scale, blah, 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 blah. You can play, this is where a lot of your jazz techniques come in. Enclosure, chromatic scale, bebop scale. But it's between those 2 points that you're going to do all of that stuff. Right? Okay? That's the trick. That's the trick, right? Now the question becomes, why is it so effective? Because the audience can hear that line. And that's what the audience loves to hear. If the audience can recognize that line, they'll like your song immediately. Or if you write a song and you don't have that line in there, they don't like it. Because they don't understand what's going on. But if you put that line in there, they'll like your song the first time they hear it. The very first time someone hears that, if you go, everyone's going to go, I get it. Why? Because it's just that line. So if you look at a bunch of hit records and a bunch of songs that are super popular, probably 90 to 95% of them always have a line. That's the trick. That's how you write a hit record. You got to have a line running through your chords that holds it all together. And remember what that line is. That line is just a triad. If you do that, people will like your song.
Is that means your line not supposed to stretch too up? Because it's triad. It's somehow like close. So it's more like easy for people to sort of understand. If you go just like this crazy, they might just lose.
Right. If you go all over the place, they can't identify your pattern. It's too complicated. You'll know it because you played it every day. But someone who hears it for the first time, they can't recognize it. Especially if they're not a musician. If they're not a musician, they can't recognize all of these patterns. That's why, for some people, jazz is difficult to listen to. Because they can't hear the patterns inside of it. All the musicians are going, oh man, that was cool, dude. Yeah, he just played a dominant fucking Lydian scale. Oh man, that was so fucking, oh, that was hot. But 9/9, yeah, they're going, I don't hear no melody. They're going, I don't get it, man. This is too much. Because they can't hear a pattern. But then you put on some other tunes, Teresa Tong, right? Oh, they love that. They love that song, right? Because there's a pattern that they can find inside of there. So if you're going to write music and you want people to like it, you got to have some type of pattern in there that they can recognize. Otherwise, they're just going to go. And today, it's even worse because we have cell phones. So if they don't hear a pattern, after about 5 seconds, they go, next. And they're like, click, nah, click. So it's even worse today. Years ago, people would listen for 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Today, they go, nah, nope. And so you want them to hear that pattern immediately. Immediately. So if I write a song and I want people to get it, I have that pattern. I play it in the introduction. So within 10 seconds, they're hearing woo sa sa re immediately, right? Because you do that, then you got them. If you do that, then they're like, how ting. And then you give it to them again. Woo sa sa re, woo sa sa re. You just keep doing it, and they're like, this is good. Oh, so for sure how ting. Oh, I like this song. They like it because they recognize it.
But why jazz is also popular, but they seems have no clearly patterns.
The format of a jazz song, as you know, is usually they play the melody, then they improvise. It's the melody that people are liking. And sometimes they like the improvisation. But it's the melody. It's the head at the beginning of the tune. Only ba ba da bee, da 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 da. They like that part. Then the improvisation comes in, and it, you know, some people are liking it, some people are confused, and then it comes back to the melody. And then they're like, okay. So it's the melody. It's the melody, and also the rhythm. Rhythm's a big part, right? So even though the music you might not understand, usually people are going like this, right? Even though it's going crazy and people are doing all types of stuff, and people are going like this. So there's also rhythm that is a very strong part of the music. Stronger, actually. Rhythm is actually more important than the notes. If you take away the notes and you just have rhythm, we call that drums. And so you're good. But if you take rhythm away and you just have notes, that's like somebody screaming, ah! I mean, you know. So if you take away the rhythm, you don't have anything. But if you take away the notes, you still have music. Remember that. Rhythm is more important than actually the notes. So a lot of jazz tunes, especially in the 20s, all of those songs were meant to dance to. So the rhythms are really, you know, can make you do this. So people, you know, maybe they don't understand the music, but they can go like this, and so they're like, okay, I'll take that, you know.